Daniel Warren checked his watch for the third time in 2 minutes. 5 minutes. He'd promised himself. 5 minutes at this carnival. 5 minutes with this blind date his sister had insisted on arranging, and then he'd make a polite excuse and leave. At 35, Daniel had built Warren Technologies from a garage startup into a company worth millions. He'd sacrificed everything for that success. Friendships, hobbies, and any hope of a normal relationship. The few women he'd dated were more interested in his bank account than in him. This would be date number 12 this year. All disasters. He was done. The carnival lights blurred around him as he searched the crowd for someone matching his sister's vague description. Then he saw her. A young woman in a yellow floral dress and blue cardigan, her blonde hair pulled up, holding an enormous cloud of cotton candy and laughing at absolutely nothing. Rachel Morrison was 27 and worked as an elementary school teacher. She'd agreed to this blind date only because her grandmother had begged her, saying life was too short to spend every evening grading papers and watching old movies alone. When their eyes met, Daniel's carefully planned exit speech evaporated. "You must be Daniel," Rachel said, her smile bright and genuine. "Fair warning, I'm terrible at these things. I bought cotton candy to have something to do with my hands, and now I'm stuck with enough sugar to feed a classroom." Despite himself, Daniel smiled. "I was planning to leave in 5 minutes." "Honest," Rachel laughed. "I appreciate that. How about we make a deal? We walk around for exactly 5 minutes, no pressure. And if either of us wants to bail, no hard feelings." They started walking, and Daniel found himself relaxing for the first time in months. Rachel didn't ask about his company or his car or where he lived. Instead, she pointed at the Ferris wheel and told him about the time she'd gotten stuck at the top with her entire third-grade class on a field trip. 20 screaming 8-year-olds, one teacher having a panic attack because I'm terrified of heights, and a carnival worker named Bruce who kept yelling that everything was fine while clearly having no idea how to fix it. She said, her laughter infectious. Daniel couldn't help but laugh too. "How long were you stuck?" 45 minutes. I sang every song I knew. Twice. By the end, the kids were teaching me songs I definitely should not have learned. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then 20. Daniel had forgotten to leave. They stopped at a game booth where you had to knock down milk bottles with a baseball. Daniel, determined to impress, paid for 3 throws. He missed every single one, the balls sailing wide or bouncing harmlessly off the bottles. Rachel gently took his place. "My dad taught me. He said every girl should know how to throw a fastball." She knocked down all 3 pyramids in 3 throws. The carnival worker handed her a small stuffed bear, which she immediately gave to a little girl walking past with her parents. "Why did you do that?" Daniel asked, genuinely curious. "Because the look on that child's face was worth more than any prize," Rachel said simply. "My grandmother used to tell me that joy multiplies when you give it away." Something shifted in Daniel's chest. He'd spent years accumulating things, achieving goals, building empires. But when was the last time he'd done something just to see someone smile? They rode the Ferris wheel together. Rachel admitted she was still terrified of heights, but said some fears were worth facing. At the top, with the carnival spread below them like a painting of light and color, she told him about her dreams of opening a community center for kids who needed after-school care. "It's probably silly," she said, looking embarrassed. "You probably think about stock portfolios and board meetings." "I think about those things, yes," Daniel admitted. "But sitting here right now, they seem very far away and not particularly important." Rachel turned to him, her expression soft in the carnival lights. "What made you so sad, Daniel?" No one had asked him that before. No one had looked past the success to see the loneliness underneath. "I built everything I thought I wanted," he said quietly, "and then I realized I'd built it all alone. Alone is a choice, Rachel said gently. So is together. They stayed at the carnival for 3 more hours. Daniel won her a small stuffed dog on his 15th try at the ring toss, and they both agreed it was the ugliest prize they'd ever seen, which made it perfect. They shared funnel cake and argued playfully about whether the powdered sugar or the cinnamon version was superior. They rode the carousel, and Rachel picked the most ornate horse, while Daniel chose the one that looked slightly broken, saying it needed someone to appreciate it. As the carnival began closing, Daniel walked Rachel to her car. The 5-minute promise felt like it had happened in another lifetime. I haven't laughed like this in years, Daniel confessed. I've forgotten what it felt like. Then we should do it again, Rachel said. Maybe without the time limit? 6 months later, Daniel stood at that same carnival on a warm summer evening. Rachel had no idea he'd rented the entire place for the night. When she arrived, confused by his mysterious invitation, he led her to the Ferris wheel. At the top, with the empty carnival glowing just for them, Daniel took her hand. I came here planning to stay 5 minutes, he said. You made me want to stay 5 minutes longer, then 5 more, then forever. He pulled out a small velvet box. Marry me, Rachel. Teach me how to multiply joy. Show me how to live instead of just succeed. Be my partner in building something that actually matters. Through happy tears, Rachel nodded. Yes, but only if you promise to keep being terrible at carnival games. I promise, Daniel laughed. They were married at that same carnival the following spring. Daniel's sister took credit for the match at every opportunity. Rachel's grandmother cried happy tears and said she'd known all along. Daniel learned that the best things in life can't be scheduled or controlled. Sometimes you just need someone to make you laugh long enough to forget your plans and remember your heart. And sometimes 5 minutes is all it takes to find forever